Hey everybody, and welcome to our home learning program at Lake Tahoe today. I am so glad you have joined us today. We have over 70 people already logged on, and I am ready to present to you guys. So if you didn't hear me earlier, I would love it if you could grab a piece of paper and something to color with, because my favorite thing is when you share pictures with me online, pictures that you have created about something that you've learned during our programs. So if you want to draw something today that you see or that you learn about, I would love it if you can share it with us with the Ports program on social media. You can tag us with @PortsProgram or hashtag PortsFan or hashtag PortsFanArt. All right. So I'm gonna flip the camera here, friends, so that you can see my face. And good morning. I hope all of you are doing well at home today. My name is Stephanie, and I work for California State Parks. Can you raise your virtual hand if you recognize that logo? Have you seen that before? Oh my gosh, lots of you. Maybe you have attended one of our home learning programs already. Maybe you've attended one with me already. And if this is your first home learning program, welcome. I'm so glad that you're with us today. Today, we are going to be reading a story. Let me grab it. It's called Bear Came Along. And I'm super excited because after we're done reading the story, we are going to learn all about bears. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun today. And our program is going to last about 45 minutes. I'll do some exploring as well because today we are at Pine Point State Park. Let me spin the camera around so you can see what I see. Wow, can you guys see that big lake? Some people think it's an ocean, but it's actually a lake. In fact, it's Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is a world famous lake because it's really, really special. But I'm ready to share this story with you today. So I hope that you have a piece of paper and something to color with, because if you see something during the program today that you want to draw, I would love it if you share that picture with us at the Ports program. All right, so without further ado, let's read this really awesome story. It's called Bear Came Along. And one thing I love to do is to collect children's books. And I love children's books that have unique illustrations. And this book has some very fun, unique illustrations. I think you guys are really gonna like them. Bear Came Along by Richard T. Morris. And illustrations are by, I have to look up the name, Lillian Pham. And before I start, I just want to look at this really cool illustration right here. Look at that. What is that? What's that blue streak that you see running through this picture? It's a river. I wonder if there's going to be a river in the setting of our story today. And look at these trees. You guys, these remind me of the trees that we have here in the park. That's really cool. This story almost could have taken place right here at Pine Point State Park. And I see some animals. Turtles. You guys see that? I wonder if that's some kind of hint about what this story is going to be about. Bear Came Along by Richard T. Morris. Illustrations by Lillian Pham. Look at the bear. Once there was a river that flowed night and day, but it didn't know it was a river. until who's that? Until Bear came along. Bear was just being curious. When he realized what the river could do. Oh no. But he didn't know he was on an adventure until what happened to Bear? Oh dear. He fell in. Do you guys want to know something funny? I fell into a creek yesterday, just like Bear. I fell off a log, just like Bear. How funny is that? And who's hiding in the plants there? So Bear didn't know he was on an adventure until Froggy hopped on. Look at that. He's all wet. Froggy was a lonely frog who was looking for a friend, but she didn't know how many she had until the turtles showed up. Oh, there's those turtles that we saw, remember, at the beginning? The turtles tried to warn them about the things that could go wrong, but they didn't know how to enjoy the ride. The turtles, I think, are very worried because maybe the river is dangerous or powerful. Look, they look so worried. Do you think Bear and Froggy are worried? So they didn't know how to enjoy the ride until Beaver climbed aboard. Look at Beaver. Beaver was born to captain and he knew exactly where to go. Look at him. He's directing everybody. He's in charge. But he didn't know about the detours until, do you guys know what a detour is? A detour is when you're on your way somewhere and then you take a separate way. Something that takes you off the path that you originally started out on. So Beaver didn't know about the detours until the raccoons dropped in. Woohoo! Look, they're dropping down. Look at Beaver, he's bossy. The raccoons were so excited about the twists and turns ahead, but they didn't know they had to be careful. Look at how excited the raccoons are. The turtles, look, they're still worried. And the beaver is still telling everybody what to do. And Bear, he just looks kind of curious or surprised. They didn't know they had to be careful until they crashed into Duck. Quack! Duck was so content being right where she was, but she didn't know there was a world to see. Look at Froggy grabbing onto the duck. And there's Bear and the raccoons and the worried little turtles. She didn't know there was a world to see until, bum, bum, bum. Do you guys know what's about to happen? Can you predict? What do you think is about to happen? Uh-oh, I see lots of paws. Look, I see Bear's claws, I see the duck's feet, and who's this? Maybe the beaver. What's gonna happen, you guys? Oh! Look how worried everybody is. What's happening? Oh no, they're about to go over a waterfall. I'm having trouble with the page. I think we have to turn it like this now. Bear held on to Froggy. Froggy held on to turtles. Turtles held on to Beaver. Beaver held on to raccoons. And raccoons held on to duck. Well, it looks like they're falling, but they're also having fun. Oh, what a ride. Eee, splash. Can you guys help me make a splash sound? Have you ever splashed into the water like me yesterday when I fell into the creek? So many different animals living their separate lives, but they didn't know they were in it together until the river came along. I see lots of animals. Let's look at all the different animals we can find. We have all the animals from our story, but I also see a deer and some bunnies. I see some squirrels. Look, a porcupine and a skunk and some foxes and a moose and a chipmunk and even some little mice down here. Oh, and let's not forget the birds. The end. So why do you think the river brings all the animals together? So many different animals living in this forest. Why do they all come to the river? What do you think? Well, I think each one of these animals finds water to drink at the river. They also find other animals of their own kind at the river. They might even find some adventure too. Well, thank you so much for reading that story with me, friends. I think that now we have some time to learn all about bears. And then once we learn about bears, we might be able to go explore a river that we have here in the park and see what other kinds of animals we can find. Raise your hand if that sounds like something you want to do. Oh, good. Lots of you want to go exploring with me. Well, I am super excited to explore with all of you. So let's first take a look at, maybe we'll just spin this camera here. Let's take a look at what I have over here. So give me just a second because I'm going to adjust this camera so that we can see. Whoa, what is that, you guys? Actually, I think I need to just pull the camera off. Thank you, Evan. All right, I'm gonna spin the camera around. So just, there's gonna be a bright flash. I brought my friend, Honey the bear, today to help us learn all about bears. Doesn't that bear look like the one in the story? So do you guys think that this bear is alive? No, she's not alive anymore. But this bear helps us learn about bears in general because bears are one animal that we have here at Sugar Pine Point State Park. And even though Honey is a light colored bear, in fact, that's why she's named Honey, because she's the color of honey, she's actually an American black bear. So black bears are the only kind of bears that we have in California. And black bears tend to be quite shy. They're also very good climbers. Let's take a look at her claws. They can give us a clue about where she lives. So what do you notice about Honey's claws? What is one thing that you notice? Raise your hand in the webinar if you notice that they are curved. Oh, lots of you. Raise your hand in the webinar if you notice that they are sharp. Yeah, so these curved, sharp claws help black bears do lots of things. So for one thing, they are excellent tree climbers. Let's take a look at these tall trees. Can you imagine climbing a really tall tree like that? So black bears have these claws to help them climb trees, and they climb trees to feel safe. They climb trees to escape danger, and they climb trees to search for food or a place to rest. And they're also sharp, well, not only for climbing, but because bears like to tear up logs. Why do you think bears like to tear up logs? What could a bear find inside an old log or inside the bark of a tree? Raise your hand if you guessed bugs. Lots of you. That's right. So black bears actually eat a lot of different types of seeds and nuts, as well as insects. Most of their diet is actually vegetarian. About 80 to 90% of a black bear's diet is plant-based. Isn't that amazing? Black bears are not very active hunters. You might have heard of grizzly bears. So grizzly bears are active hunters, but black bears not so much. They prefer to go for plants, maybe dig inside a log or two and find some larvae or some nuts and seeds. All right, so I'm going to set the camera back up and show you the rest of my objects here. I just want to make sure you can see me when I'm talking. All right. So let's see, now that you've met Honey the bear, let's see what other objects I have. So since we started talking about what a bear eats, let's take a look at the bear's skull. So remember, a skull is the bones you can find inside an animal's head. I have a skull, you have a skull, and this is a bear's skull. What do you notice about the black bear's teeth? Oh, do they look long and sharp? Maybe they remind you of a lion's teeth, or even your dog. If you have a dog at home, your dog probably has some sharp teeth too. Or your cat has some sharp teeth. And that's because all of those animals can eat meat. So bears do have the ability to eat meat. That's what these sharp teeth are for. They're for tearing up meat. But bears also have these flat teeth towards the back of their mouth. Do you know why they also have these flat teeth towards the back of their mouths? Can you think of any other animals that have some flat teeth like that? Well, animals with flat teeth are plant eaters. And so if a bear has flat teeth for eating plants, but also sharp teeth for eating meat, what does that tell us? Well, black bears are plant eaters and meat eaters. So they are omnivores. Can you say omnivore? An omnivore is an animal that eats both plants and meat. And you'll find both types of teeth in an omnivore's mouth. Hey, you know what? People are omnivores too. Do you have any sharp teeth in your mouth? See my sharp teeth right there? And do you have any flat teeth in your mouth? I know I have some back here. That's because I eat meat and I eat plants. Just like a bear. And I also have something here to show you guys. I have some rubber paw prints. Do you think these rubber paw prints came from a grown-up bear or a cub? Let's compare it to my hand and see. You think these paw prints came from a grown-up bear or from a cub? If this is my hand and I'm a grown-up adult. They came from a cub. So a cub's paw prints are about as big as a child's handprint. So if you want to hold your hand up to the screen, let's compare your hand to the cub's hands. So a child's hands are about the size of a cub's hands, and an adult's hands, like mine, are about the size of a grown-up bear's hands. Look at that. That is a paw print from a grown-up bear. See, it's about as big as my hand. Pretty big. But let's look at the cubs again. So this is the cub's front paw, and this is the cub's back paw. See how they're different? They're also the same in some ways. They both have 5 toes. How many toes and fingers do you have? You also have 5. But the front paws are wider than the back paws. All right, you guys, I have something else to show you, but you might want to plug your nose for this one. Ta-da! Do you know what that is? Raise your hand if you think you know what that is. P.U. That's bear poop, you guys. But don't worry, it's not real. It's just pretend. It's rubber, just like the paw prints. Look how big it is. Whoa. So bear poop is something that we find a lot of in the park. And that tells us that there are bears nearby. And oftentimes in bear poop, you can see all sorts of plant materials like seeds or branches or grass. Because remember, bears eat mostly plants. But sometimes you can also find other things. Sometimes when you look inside bear poop, you can see plastic or trash. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Why do you think we might find trash inside a pile of bear poop? Think about that for a second. Why might we find trash inside a pile of bear poop? Well, I have some pictures to show you, and maybe it will help us understand. Here at Sugar Pine Point State Park, we have a campground, which means we get lots of visitors in the summer who want to come and set up the tent with their family and enjoy a vacation. But campers cook food and they have dinner every night. Maybe they make s'mores, and that means they produce trash. Just like we have trash at home, and we put our trash in a trash bag, campers create trash in the campground, and they put their trash in trash bags too. But sometimes, because bears have really, really good noses, they come exploring because they smell your hamburgers or they smell your toasted marshmallows and they say, that smells delicious. And so we ask all of our campers to lock their garbage inside special metal boxes. But if they don't do that, then the bears can get into the trash. Look at this picture. Look, those are 2 little cubs inside a dumpster. And what are they surrounded by? Garbage. And so sometimes bears, they will tear open the garbage and they'll eat the trash that they find. And every once in a while, it means they're going to eat plastic or they're going to eat trash, and it's going to work its way through their body and out through their poop. Do you think we want bears eating human trash? What do you think? No, we don't want bears eating human trash. And let's explore why. Why don't we want bears eating human trash? Well, let's think about our own lives. Who there, raise your hand if you like to eat junk food sometimes. Like, do you like to eat candy bars sometimes? I know I do. My favorite is Kit Kats. I love Kit Kats. But I bet that your family, your mom and dad, or your grandma and grandpa won't let you eat candy bars for every meal, will they? No. You only get candy bars every once in a while as a treat. And that's because it's not good for our bodies to eat candy for every meal every day, right? Well, just like it's not healthy for us to eat candy at every meal every day, it's not healthy for bears to eat human trash every meal every day. What's healthy for bears is their natural diet, like grasses and plants, seeds and nuts, or insects. Occasionally, they like to eat fish or small mammals. That's healthy for bears, right? I bet your family wants you to eat healthy foods like vegetables or pasta or peanut butter sandwiches. That's more healthy for you than to eat candy bars. So just like that, we want bears to eat their natural foods that they would find in the wild. Which is why we ask people who come to our park and to our campground to store all of their garbage and lock it up so the bears can't get it. Let's look at some more pictures. Look at this black bear. He's trying to get into the cooler. That's something else campers have to lock up. They have to lock up their coolers because bears can sniff out things from super far away. They say, I smell some Coca-Cola. I'm going to go find that Coca-Cola, even if it's miles away. And look at this lady with her bear. She's feeding that bear tea. She's having a tea party with her bear. Is that a natural bear behavior? No, it's not. I don't know what she's doing with her bear. Look at these bears. These bears are getting into all sorts of trouble in these dumpsters because these dumpsters aren't locked. Here, if you come to Sugar Pine Point State Park, you'll notice all of our dumpsters are locked. And look at this bear. He says, where's my dinner? He looks more like my Uncle John than he looks like a bear. And finally, let's look at this. Look at this picture. Is that a natural bear behavior? Raise your hand if you think that this is a natural bear behavior. Yeah, that is. We like to see bears doing bear things. That means the bears are staying wild. We want to help protect bears, and we want bears to stay wild. We don't want bears to be behaving like us. That's silly. Only bears like Yogi Bear. Yogi Bear's a cartoon. He can do whatever he wants. He's silly. But we want black bears in our parks to be behaving naturally, just like this. That's a healthy bear. All right. So let's go exploring. Do you guys want to explore with me? Raise your hand if you're ready to do some exploring. Remember our book, Bear Came Along, when we went floating down the river? Well, I have a river just over here at Sugar Pine Point State Park. And let's see what other kinds of animals we can find on our adventure. All right, I'm gonna flip the camera and we'll go exploring. Thank you, Evan. And then towards the end of the program, in about 10 minutes, friends, I will try to answer some common questions that I usually get. Hey, look, you guys, the sun is coming out. This is Lake Tahoe. See all the clouds in the sky? Why do you think there's clouds in the sky? What do you think is happening to the weather today? Yeah, we got some rain last night. All right, we are gonna walk down this beach and we're gonna see what we can find. Ugh. We might even find some animal tracks in the sand if we're lucky. I see lots of people tracks. See the shoe prints? Have you drawn any pictures yet? Did you draw a picture of maybe the bear that I showed you, of Honey the bear? If you did, don't forget, I would love it if you can tag us. If your mom or your dad or someone in your family helps you post a picture online, you can tag us with hashtag PortsFanArts. We would love to see it. Look at these plants. Hey, look, there's some trees like we saw in the story. Can you see the clouds moving in the sky? Does anything here tell you that this is a really good habitat for bears? Remember what we learned about Honey the bear? Remember when we looked at her claws? Black bears love to live in forests because they can climb trees. Look how many trees we have here. That means it's a really good habitat for black bears. Oh, I see some robins. Let's see them flying around. You see them? Whoa, there they go. Look at the forests. How many black bears do you think are living in this forest? Look, friends, we made it. We made it to the creek. There's another robin on the branch. Remember when we saw some birds at the end of our story? What other birds were in our story? Do you remember which bird the bear met along the river? It was a duck. Usually there's ducks in this stream. That means water is flowing, and this water flows to the lake. And I see trees here at the stream. We saw some robins. Most days we'll also see ducks or geese floating around. And one other special kind of animal lives here in this creek. But I'm going to give you some clues. And I want to see if you can guess what it is, okay? So I'll give you 3 clues. This animal is a mammal, which means it has fur. This animal swims. And this animal has teeth that are strong enough to cut down trees. Do you know what that animal is? Raise your hand if you know what it is. It's a mammal that swims and it has teeth strong enough to cut down trees. If you guessed beaver, you're right. This creek has beavers, but it's not very common to see them. Remember, there was a beaver in our story. All right, so let's head back and I will try to answer some common questions that we get here at Lake Tahoe. But I think, let's see if we can let's take an adventure through these bushes on our way back. Hey, look, you guys. Do you see this wire? Look at all this wire around this tree. Do you know why that's there? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the animal that we just mentioned. So we put up this wire to prevent the beavers from chewing down the trees. Isn't that funny? All right, it might be too muddy, but let's see if we can't. Feel free to go around that way, Evan, if you want. Let's see what else we can find. Look, you guys, this log was chewed by a beaver. Look at that. What do you notice? Can you imagine if you had teeth strong enough to chop down a tree? We need special tools to do it. All right, we're going on our own adventure. We're gonna, let's see if I can climb over this log. This is probably why I fell into the creek yesterday, because I was trying to walk on a log. Whoa, I don't want to slip in this mud, you guys. Look at all this mud. All right, we made it on our own adventure. I thought I saw a fish. Can you see inside the stream? All right, we made it. So now I'm gonna flip the camera so you can see my face. Surprise! And we'll head back to our bear. I hope you guys enjoy our story today, and I hope you enjoyed our river adventure. Let's answer some questions that I get often during programs. So one question that I get very often during bear programs is, how big are black bears? And black bears can be many different sizes, but they are not as big as grizzly bears or polar bears. So black bears, the ones here in Lake Tahoe anyway, tend to be similar in size to adult humans. So I am an adult woman, and a female black bear will be similar in weight to what I weigh, maybe a little bit larger. And the same thing for an adult man. Hey, Evan, can you come here? I need your help. So I have my friend Evan here. Evan is an adult man. Do you want to wave hi, Evan?
Hey, guys.
And so a male black bear will compare in size to an adult man, or, you know, even larger. So that gives you an idea about how big they are. Thanks, Evan. Let's see, another question I commonly get is, why are black bears like Honey, so you can see Honey, not black? And that has to do with genetics. So just like my hair color is similar to Honey's, your hair color might be black, another person's might be dark brown, another person's might be blonde. That's because you come from families with different types of hair color. So bears are similar. The black bears that we have here, although they're called black bears, come in as many different colors as you might have in the audience. So dark brown, light brown, blonde, black, cinnamon. They come in many different colors here in the Lake Tahoe area. But the black bears that you find in other parts of the United States are usually black. Which brings me to another question, is, where do black bears live? So we know that black bears live in forested habitats, but if we're thinking about where they live in the United States, They're actually spread out all across our continent. So down from Mexico all the way through Canada, black bears are the most widespread of all the bears. So there are a lot of black bears in the world. They do come in many different colors. And let's see. Another question I get is, what is a black bear's most powerful sense? And that would definitely have to be their sense of smell. So just, I want you to picture your dog at home. We know dogs have very powerful noses, right? Dogs are always walking around with their noses to the ground. It's almost like how they read the morning news, right? We read the newspaper or we read the news on our phones. Dogs read the environment. That's how they get the news of what's going on from other dogs or other people or other animals. And bears have noses that are even more powerful than dogs' noses. So the most powerful nose of all the dogs is the bloodhound. The bloodhound is used for finding lost people or finding other hidden things, but a bear's nose is up to 7 times more powerful than a bloodhound's, which means bears can find your scented items, even if you're hiding them in your car or in your cupboard or in your campsite. And so it's common here to have bears break into cars, like break windows, if they smell something like chapstick or an air freshener, or if you left a bag of trail mix. And so it's really important that we hide all of our food and all of our garbage or scented items, even like toothpaste or chapstick, so that the bears can't break in and steal it. Well, friends, I really enjoyed my program with you today, and I loved reading the story with you. Remember, it was called Bear Came Along. And we learned all about Lake Tahoe's black bears, and we learned about where they live, what they eat, how they behave, and how we can help protect them and how we play a part in keeping them wild. Remember when I told you how it's important that we lock up all our garbage, especially when we're camping? And so I'm going to share an image with you before I close the webinar, which will show you the hashtags that you can use if you drew a picture today, because you can tag our Ports program online and we can see your beautiful artwork. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Stephanie, and you have learned all about bears with California State Parks. So thank you guys for joining our home learning program today. Let me put up the photo for you. And there it is. So you'll see it says, tag us on social media. Use the help of your family members to post the image if you do have a picture at Ports Program. That's our handle, and then you can put the hashtag PortsFan or PortsFanArt if you drew a picture today. And as always, you can register for more free programs at ports-ca.us. Thank you all for joining me again today, and that's all. We'll see you next time.